I am the greatest.
I wish I was 50 years younger and I'd kick your ass.
You won't do shit. Just stick and move. And just waking you up and saying, now stick and move. Keep your hands up. Welcome to a new episode of the Stick and Move podcast. I'm your host, Trey, here with my homeboy, Sam. And today we're giving our top 3 most boring mega fights of all time. We're talking about bouts that had all the hype, and it just came in with a big old flat tire. So, Sam, go ahead. Give me your number 3 worst mega fight ever. Talk to me, brother.
The worst mega fight ever for me, my number 3 at least. My number 3 was Vladimir Klitschko in the Tyson Fury fight.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that was just such a bore fest, man. Neither one of the guys wanted to engage. You know, whatever flurries they threw was just a touch and move. It was pretty much, a dancing around the ring. And they hyped it up so much. It was going to be the deciding factor of who was going to be continuing to be the new heavyweight crown, champion king. And it was just a complete bore fest in my end.
What do you remember about, like, the hype to that fight? Because I remember that, too. That was a big deal. 2 European fighters going at it. One was a legend already, or, you kind of struggle with the legend part. I knew a lot of people that did not really care for Klitschko or never really gave him the credit. But meeting in the match, this up-and-coming Tyson Fury, what was your anticipation to that bout?
Look, I thought it was going to be all Klitschko because
really?
because I hardly knew anything about Fury.
Yeah, at the time, yeah.
I didn't pay attention to who Tyson Fury was. So I was just like, you know what? I know how powerful these two guys are, as in the Klitschko brothers, and I thought, it was gonna be, a knockout or something, and it was nothing like that, and I was totally shocked.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't really know that much about, Tyson Fury. I mean, he fought Kevin Johnson, was it Steve Cunningham, Chisora twice. I mean, this was an up-and-coming boxer that really wanted to prove himself, and I think what caught people by surprise is him weirdly able to weather the storm from Klitschko in that bout. I was just caught off guard just as much as you were when it came to that mega fight. It was kind of like a handing of the baton from one generation.
Yes.
Now you are the next guy.
Exactly.
Before I give you my number 3, just a little quick. I want your opinion. What are your thoughts about Klitschko, bro? Like his legacy and everything. Were you one of those? Man. Were you one of those like, yeah, he's an all-time great, or were you also, because I remember the hype behind it. Was he an all-time great, or was he? Did he even need a little bit more under his belt? Where did you fall along the line?
Look, he's a great fighter. He is. He's a great boxer. He's
phenomenal jab.
Yeah, and he was trained by Emanuel Stewart, arguably one of the best trainers in boxing history. I mean, yeah, great jab, but his size helps him out a lot. His advantage is his size. There is some things that he does that I don't like, which is leaning on the backs of his opponents.
Yeah,
I don't like that. But if I were to call him, a great fighter, I guess in this era it is. I mean, he still has
he top 10 heavyweight. Is he a top 10 heavyweight of all time?
Top 10 heavyweight of all time? Yeah, I say he's number 10. I say he's number 10.
So he's like a fringe top.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, so people on our comments, go ahead, let us know in the comment section, is Klitschko a top 10 heavyweight ever? And we'll take it from there. So I'm going to give you my number 3. And this fight, bro, you and I have had long conversations about this fight off the camera when you and I were just, this was years ago. I remember you and I talking about the anticipation to this fight. And that is, hey guys, Trey here. If you love today's controversial episode and you want to see our channel grow, please drop a like, subscribe, and also comment. Sam and I are always going back and forth with those commenters on our controversial topics and opinions, and we love it so much. So go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe, most importantly, so our channel can grow and we can give you guys the best content as possible. Sam and I were always uploading multiple videos a week, and we want to continue doing that, and we need your help. So go ahead and subscribe, guys. And most importantly, like I always say, don't forget to stick and move, baby. It's Earl Spence versus Mikey Garcia, bro.
Oh, okay.
Look, I remember the setup. Mikey Garcia was undefeated. Errol Spence was undefeated. Mikey Garcia going up 2 weight classes. I remember when they had the conversation. I think it was with Max Kellerman. I could be wrong. I'm going off the top of my head here. Where Max Kellerman, they're having that round table and they're sitting with their chairs on their, it looked like AC Slater from Saved by the Bell. Anyways, and I remember Mikey Garcia saying something to the effect of, I'm not quoting it, but I know it was more or less that he goes, "You're too predictable. I already have you calculated, and this is gonna be one of my easier fights." And humbly, Errol Spence just like nods his shoulder, like, "All right, if that's what you think it is, that's what you think it is." And that fight ended be 12 rounds of a schooling where it was proven that there are size class weights for a reason, that Mikey Garcia, who was, I honestly thought was his intellectual fighter, he couldn't crack that combination that a then Earl Spence had. So that is my number 3. Have any thoughts on that fight?
Yeah, it was Mikey. It was daring to be great. I
Daring to be
remember
great,
the
yeah.
interview. He was telling Errol Spence that he was smarter than him, faster than him, and had better skills than him. And Errol Spence was like, "No, you're not. I'm faster than you. I'm smarter than you. Blah blah blah." But it was pretty much survival mode for Mikey, and 12 rounds, bro. It was a landslide. 12 rounds to 0. All Errol Spence.
Wow.
But I have a question.
Talk to me.
Do you think that Errol Spence could have knocked him out, or do you think he just couldn't knock him out?
I don't think he could have knocked him out. I don't think Errol Smith had it in him. I don't know. For me, when I saw that fight, because I actually thought Mikey Garcia had a good chance. I think he fought the fighter before him, Robert Easter, if I'm not mistaken. I know it was his last name. And he was this like skinny, super tall giant. And Mikey Garcia was able to get inside his jab like nothing. And he just gave Easter a lesson from hell.
Yeah.
I think that Mikey Garcia, I mean, he had taken that break before coming into this fight, also with Easter. And I honestly think, no, I feel that I honestly think that Errol Spence did not have the power to take down Mikey Garcia. I just think Mikey Garcia, he was just overwhelmed. It was just a chess match. It was one of those 12-0, maybe 11-1 kind of fights. What do you think? Do you think Errol Spence could have knocked him out?
Look, this is my thought during the fight and after the fight. My thought during the fight and after the fight is Errol Spence is giving him a boxing lesson.
Right.
Because
that's what it definitely was.
Yeah, he was giving him a boxing lesson to show him that he can box. But after a few fights, bro, I started thinking, you know what? Maybe Errol Spence does not have the power we thought he had. You know what I mean? But who knows? Who knows? He didn't knock him out. He should at least knocked him out in the 10th or 11th or 12th round, and he didn't. So I don't know.
That's exactly what it looked like, man. It was just a straight up boxing lesson, a straight up schooling. Errol Spence didn't really batter him. He wasn't throwing massive combinations to where Mikey Garcia was overwhelmed. I just think that he was making Mikey Garcia miss a lot, and he was trying to, like you said, teach him a lesson. And I think that's the furthest that it went, But anyways,
yes.
All right. So what is your number 2, my man?
My number 2 can go either one. I got 2 of them, but I'm gonna pick this one right now for my number 2. Was the Pacquiao and Floyd?
Oh yeah,
I think the Pacquiao and Floyd, that thing was so hyped for 7 years. They've been hyping this fight up, or even beyond, bro. Even beyond. They've been hyping this fight forever. And dude, I didn't like the fight. It was pretty much, Manny Pacquiao chasing him around, Manny Pacquiao trying to get in the big punch, Pacquiao trying to break the defense, Floyd controlling the fight, and it was another Floyd fight. Sorry, it is what it is. It was another Floyd fight, and it was not the action-packed fight I was hoping to see.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's one of those scenarios where we were waiting for it for so long. Sorry, my phone went off. And to be honest, when it was finally announced and they were finally doing the face off with each other 2 months before, I was not really into it, man. Manny Pacquiao, we've had an entire episode. Is he the greatest ever already? And I still stick to my guns like that. I'm not trying to condone religion when it comes to his fervor and his degree of fighting skill, but I think when he went to that next level of religion, it took out that ferocity that he had in his boxing skills. And I think Mayweather knew that, and he was like, "Yes, now is the time." He's already been knocked out. He's already gone through wars. He's already done. He's already tired. He's fought many trilogies with Marquez and Morales and Barrera. This guy, he is done. And I wasn't, to be honest. Yeah, I was excited that they're gonna fight. I remember watching that fight with my grandma, and it was just a flat tire, bro. It was just a flat tire. Let me ask you this: if it would have happened 4 years earlier, before Marquez, before the Bradley robbery, do you think it would have been a different fight?
Look, the way I chose it is if it would have happened in 2009,
Hmm.
7 years, 5 years, 6 years prior. It was 6 years prior. If it would have
Yeah,
happened 6 years prior, I think Manny Pacquiao would have won.
yeah.
He was relentless. He was chopping people's heads off. I mean, there was nobody that was going to stop Manny Pacquiao in 2009, and that's why I always said right after Floyd beat Hatton, and Manny beating, I think it was, who was it that he beat? I think he had beaten Margarito, or I don't know, I forgot who.
Cotto, I think it
Uh,
was Cotto.
it was Cotto, and that's when it should have happened. It was right after, I don't know, after Pac beat De La Hoya and Floyd beat Hatton. That's when
Oh
they
yeah,
should have
that
fought.
little. Yeah, that was.
That's
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you.
that. I think that would have been a great time, and I think Manny Pacquiao would have won at that time. But the fight was so hype, bro. It became, we were drained already.
Yeah,
Years
yeah.
and years waiting for this to happen.
I agree with you 100%. By the time it happened, I wasn't expecting much fireworks. I know there was a lot of people that had a lot on it. For me, it was just like I knew I had that feeling that Mayweather was going to win. To me, in my opinion, I kind of think that it was more or less of a draw because of what you said. Pacquiao was moving the fight forward. He was landing the combinations to an extent, and Mayweather was, doing the Mayweather things. I just think
Yeah,
Pacquiao was a little bit more effective. I had it more or less a draw. You and I got to do an episode reviewing
we
that
got
fight
to.
because we've had a lot of comments in our comment section from various episodes saying that Pacquiao actually won that fight. So yeah, we'll definitely check that out, bro.
All right.
So
So what's your number two?
my number two, brother, is Muhammad Ali versus Leon Spinks, brother. A
Oof.
young Leon Spinks, 6-0-1. Like, how the hell does that even happen to a young buck like him, finally getting a chance at one of the all-time great legends? Listen, as far as I know, the judges had it. It was about 10-4, 11-4, I'm sorry, 10-5, 11-4, 11, 12-3 kind of fight. Totally lopsided. It was not the Muhammad Ali we knew. It was the more softer, slower speaking Muhammad Ali that we all grew that unfortunately came towards the end of his career after all the many big mega wars that he was into. But look, bro, uh, it's interesting that when the rematch would happen, you know, that was the one where Muhammad Ali takes it from him. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
And it's just like that's to me, I could see why a lot of people have Muhammad Ali's not as their number one, because there were times where Ali would carry the other fighter or make it more interesting than it should have. You know what I'm saying? And I
Yeah.
honestly think that that's what he did, because he schooled him the next fight. Um, but look, going back to this one, man, considering that there were 70 million views, so you're talking about just a young buck coming in and different speed, different kind of style fight that Muhammad Ali wasn't used to, or at the very least wasn't prepared for. So that was my number two. You have any thoughts?
Dude, he was 6-0-1.
6-0-1, bro.
So you're talking about 6 fights, and he
Yeah,
got
well,
shot at. He
yeah,
shot at
bro.
Muhammad Ali.
Yeah, bro.
Wow, bro.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, it
Six
was
zero
one
and
of those.
one.
Yeah, it's just one of those scenarios where Spinks was getting a lot of hype. He was that upcoming boxer. Kind of reminds me of somebody we're going to do an episode on very soon in Lomachenko, where he just got onto the to the zeitgeist, I guess you can say, of
Mm-hmm.
boxing media, and they were like, "Who is this young guy?" And we want to put him in against the best. And I don't know, man. It was just one of those like.
But Muhammad Ali was already slower in that
Yeah,
time.
he was already slower. He was already slower. They fought the second time immediately for a rematch, almost like 8 or 9 months later, and Muhammad Ali would beat him this time in a unanimous decision. Uh, and then Ali would announce his retirement on that rematch. So for me, I just have that was my number two, man, because it
Listen,
was
77 million views.
70 million views.
70 million
And
views.
I remember my dad telling me like they were waiting for that fight, and it was just like a dud of action pack of any
Wow.
kind of action, that it was
Do you know
just
how
like
many punches were thrown from Ali
Ali, he threw 254 total punches.
in
Spinks
the
threw
whole 15 round fight?
yeah, Spinks threw 419. Uh so that just goes to show you that both boxers weren't really engaged as much as other fighters have been, especially at that time. You know?
Wow, wow, wow.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
all right.
All right. So, what is your number one? Talk to me, brother.
My number one was this fight that I couldn't wait to happen, bro, because I've seen him climbing up the ranks and to becoming one of the youngest world heavyweight champions ever, bro.
Mhm.
And he was fighting the current champion, which was Michael Spinks versus Mike Tyson, bro. This thing was
Oh,
so hyped up, bro. I remember I was, you know what? I listened to it on the radio.
ooh,
I was with my dad and we're listening to on the radio. It was a closed circuit fight. So it was we didn't have the channel to watch it or whatever. And we heard it on the radio.
right.
And dude, I was expecting Michael Spinks to put up this huge fight, you know. Dude, the fight started and it was over.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
was
yeah,
it started and it was over. It was this is why I call it you know, it was for me at least a boring mega fight. It lost. I mean, dude, come on, bro. You're the heavyweight champion in the world, and to just get KO'd like that, boom, and it was
yeah.
over, man.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it was a huge bust for me, man.
Speaking of both Spinks brothers, right? That's kind of what it was. I mean, weren't they known as the Jinx brothers as well? Because when it came to the super big matches, they always just fell apart, if I'm
Yeah.
not mistaken. So, yeah, dude, that's one of those fights that will live on for infamy. I know you believe that fight was that he took a dive. Do you
Yeah,
still
I think
fall on that
so.
sword?
Yes, I do.
Wow, wow, wow.
I
Yeah, I
think
mean,
that I think they were preparing Mike Tyson for what the future he had, you
mhm,
know,
mhm.
and that's what happened.
Wow. I don't know. For me, I still fall on the sword that Spinks went in there and he was just Tyson comes in as a tornado. He felt the power. He's like, you know what? I'm not feeling it today. And the one chance that he got, where he got hit a little clean, and he was like, you know what, that's good enough for me. I'm done for the fight. That's where I fall in line. But I'll be honest with you, if it came out tomorrow that Spinks threw it in 100%, I would not be
Yeah.
surprised at all.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and coincidentally, dude, my number one is a little bit of a cop out. I tend to do that from time to time because sometimes in boxing, it's just too difficult to come up with a decision. And I didn't want to leave anyone out. And it goes to your number one. Pretty much anything Mike Tyson and Don King set up throughout the mid 80s to the early 90s, brother.
Mm-hmm.
All those I remember because that was a leap of that's the first time I had ever, me personally, I had ever heard of pay-per-view and people spending, I think it was like $40. People were like, dude, we're gonna spend $40 for a Mike Tyson fight. And time again, it didn't matter if it was McNeely, Lou Savarese, Michael Spinks, Selden Tillman, Alex Stewart. All these fights only lasting less than a round or two, and people were like, "Man, I just spent $40." Inflation, right? And I don't know, man. That was like a robbery for
Yeah. Yeah.
boxing fans during that
Yeah.
time. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, exactly. I mean, dude, I mean, they were great at promotions.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what Don King did. Don King
Hmm.
Promotions. I mean, dude, it was promoted as to be this epic battle between two warriors, and to have a bust. You know,
Right.
don't even bring up Bruce Seldon, bro. That was a complete fix for me.
Right.
And
Right.
I mean, that was stupid. And they hyped that fight up, made them, go at each other in the interviews and the conference, the press conference and all that. I mean, dude, the whole Michael Spinks, Mike Tyson was just the beginning to a lot of those type of fights.
I will say this too. One fight that I thought was gonna be uh a great fight for Mike Tyson that I was excited for was when he fought Frank Bruno, bro.
Oh yeah,
I thought that was going to be one of those like, dude, these guys are both tanks, bro. Both chiseled, ripped up, you know, huge heavyweights. And bro, that was one of the biggest shellackings I've ever seen in coming into a heavyweight division. I remember watching that fight. I was hoping for it to be at least a little bit even. Nah, man.
yeah,
It was overwhelmingly always for Mike Tyson, which is why, you know, he has lived on in infamy. He's one of those guys that he's one of the biggest what ifs in boxing,
yeah,
which we got to
exactly,
do another episode of pretty soon.
exactly.
All right, so that is our top three. Is there any that you left off?
I'm thinking of one that was uh, that was similar to those, and it was one that bored the hell out of me, at least me. It was a high fight between. It was sorry guys. I'm trying to remember. It was Floyd versus the Guerrero fight, Robert Guerrero.
Oh, the
I
ghost.
yeah
Yeah.
yeah I mean it was all on Floyd, man.
Hmm.
He's the one that because these guys are attacking him, and the way he was handling the fight, it bored a lot of people. Also, the recent one we had with De Los Santos and Shakur Stevenson,
Oh yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
dude, it was the lowest output of punches in history. I think there was like 40 punches thrown from one of the fighters. I don't know what it
Yeah.
was.
I remember watching that. I was so disappointed with Stevenson, considering, we have an whole episode where I have him my number one super lightweight boxer. Um, to go back to your fight that you left out, what made that Ghost versus Floyd Mayweather that anticipation come up was the HBO. Was it HBO or Showtime Promotions? You know how they have like the TV show like weeks before the fight.
Yeah,
They did such a good job editing that show, man, making Robert Guerrero this underdog that had suffered defeat and was making a comeback in his career and taking his shot. I think with his new kid. and it made you believe that Canelo was going to pull up a good fight, and it was just a straight up dud. For me, man, I went ahead and I wanted to put this my number one, but it was when Bernard Hopkins fought Winky Wright, bro.
Oh my God, bro.
Dude, talk about being in a phone booth and just rubbing each other's heads the entire fight. Hopkins making it as dirty as possible. And it was one of those, I remember thinking when this fight happened, I was like, this is not going to be an action fight. That's not what Bernard Hopkins does. And Winky Wright is like one of the all-time great defenders. Something's got to give. This is just going to be, to me, I thought it was just going to be a hug fest. And that's pretty much what it was, except that Bernard Hopkins kept on headbutting him, giving him, like, Winky Wright a big old gash over his left eye. And I don't know, Bernard Hopkins pulled out the unanimous decision, and pretty much Winky Wright just fell off the face of the earth after that. So that is one of the fights that I left off. You have any thoughts on that one?
Yeah, man. Actually, I don't remember the fight anymore. But I remember.
Exactly.
Yeah. I don't. It was something I'm glad I erased from my memory. But yeah, dude, complete porpoise. Look, guys. He has great defense, but I was never a huge Winky Wright fan.
Right.
I just wasn't. There was nothing exciting about the guy for me to watch. You know, and I mean, didn't he lose to Fernando Vargas? Winky Wright?
No, he beat Vargas, but that's one of those fights that people feel that Vargas won. So
wow.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. So do you have any final words for our audience out there, my man?
Yeah, I would like to thank everybody that's commenting, watching our channel, liking our channel. Hey, if y'all can please share it so we can continue to grow. We have a goal that we want to hit by the end of the year of 1,000 subscribers. Yep. And if there's any fighter, any fights y'all want us to talk about, we'll make an episode.
Absolutely, man. We'll leave it at that. If you get a message from me, it's Stick and Move Podcast. You get a message from Sam, it's Stick and Move Sam 75. And we'll go ahead and leave it at that until next week with 2 new episodes every Monday and Wednesday. Don't forget to stick and move, baby.
I am the greatest. I wish I was 50 years younger and I